everybody, my name is Tim from Bistory, and today we'll have a look at the very first challenge of the Workout Wednesday for CRM Analytics. The goal of the first challenge is that they ask us to make a recipe making use of line item sales. One of the first steps they ask you is to connect to a few sources. So here we are in our Salesforce environment, and the very first thing we want to do is go to our data manager where we can make our recipes. So if you go to the top left of your screen, you should be able to select Analytics Studio, and within the Analytics Studio you will find your data manager. From the data manager you find recipes on the left side of your screen, and then from the top right you can select new recipe. Now first we connect to the opportunity data object by navigating to the top left of your screen, and we click on add input data. Now as you can see, there are multiple types of sources we can connect to, but we know we are looking for a Salesforce object. This can be recognized by the sfdc_local location, or we can simply type in the opportunity object we're looking for, and here it shows is the first one, and we can proceed and click next. I'll do that again for the opportunity line item. There you go. Then the third source is the product to data object. There we go. Make sure that you also check the location, because if you have some template rolled out in your org, it might be that you have duplicates, but we really want to have the original one. And then last but not least, we need the account object. There we go. Now we are connected to all the sources we need. They expect us to do is to join everything together. Now, as most of you know, when you join sources, tables, objects together, you need to know the respective join keys and the join types. Now, as a general rule, we want to take the order line item as the lowest granularity for doing our join, so I will just grab and join it together. Now we want to do a right join because the order line item is my granularity I want to keep, so I will select right join here. We're lucky, Salesforce knows itself, so it identifies the opportunity ID as join key. I will now continue to product. For the second join, we can click to double check. First click apply, then we will see that once again product ID, and I want to be sure that for every line item there is a product linked to it, so I will select the inner join for this case, and then the account object. And I also will assume that there always will be an account linked to my order lines, so an inner join once more. Now for the next step, I want to make sure that everything went right, so I'm going to click the plus symbol and add a transform node. The transform node allows us to have a look at the data we're working with. Now I don't see any data here, so let's see what's going on. I'm going to check my first join, yes, data, but on our third join something went wrong. That is because I did not pay attention for the last node which join keys were used. So we're joining the opportunity ID to role ID, and we want to link it to account. So I will now select on the left side the account ID. On the right side there should be an account ID as well, because it's the account object. We're gonna click apply, and there we go. Now we should have data. Awesome. Next step is include only closed won opportunities for the customer accounts. How can we do that? We're gonna click on the plus icon and select filter, because we're going to filter out records based on which field the closed one or the is closed field. So if you type in CLOS, you will find closed. You see that there's a difference between the alias and the API name. More about that maybe later. But what we want to do is select the true records here. We're gonna click apply, and just to make sure that everything went right, I will look for the closed column, and then you will see we have retained only the true records. Next, they expect us to calculate the absolute discount for each line item. Well, and if it isn't clear what that is, I suggest that you browse through the data set and go through the fields to find, where is it? The actual prices. And here you see the quantity is being sold, the total price, the sales price, and the list price. So the item is listed for 100, but it's sold for 90. That means that there was a discount of 10. In order to have the delta between the list price and the sales price, we will calculate a calculated field doing list price minus sales price. Doing that by clicking the plus once more, pull down the preview, and here under the FX symbol we find custom formula, and that custom formula will help us to create that field, which we will give the name absolute discount. Then we're going to subtract two things from each other. So as we said, we are going to take the list price minus the sales price. Then we need to define what our expected output is. So we subtract two numbers, so we expect that our output will also be a number. Great. And then you want to make sure, well, we don't want to overwrite any field, so we're gonna give it a new name. Do notice API names cannot have spaces, so that's why we have absolute space discount here and absolute underscore discount over there. Now, did that work? Let's have a look. We navigate to the right side, and there we should find, boom, the absolute discount. Next, they want us to have a string field with the year of the close date of the opportunity. Calculating years out of a date is fairly easy. I think we can even do it from the field column. So we're going to look for close date. Here is the close date. I'm gonna click on it. Do notice that depending on what field you select, the options will differ. Extract. We're going to extract the year. What name should we give it? Close date year. So we select year, close date, extract, no, close date year, and click apply. Let's have a look whether that went right. There we have it, our close date year. Next, we want to aggregate everything. So we're gonna click the plus button and hit aggregate. They ask us to aggregate based on, well, to group based on the billing country. So I'm gonna add billing country in the group rows. First, we need to have one aggregate. So I'm gonna select my quantity. There we go. Let's see the expected names. It should be just quantity. Okay. Then we want to have the list price. Done. We want to have the sales price. We want to have the total list price, which we still need to calculate, and just the total price. All right. We need to group by billing country. The close date year. The product family. Product name. And the opportunity type. All right. As mentioned, there will be a need to add one more field, but let's already have a look what we're working with. So, billing country, close date, product family, product name, opportunity. We need to do a few renamings, I'm afraid. So I'm going to click on transform, click on sum of list price, hit edit attributes, which allows me to change the label to list price again, because we did use the aggregate node. There's just some prefix happening. I'll do the same for sum of sales price. Again, hit edit attributes, remove sum of. Then I will go to total price and do exactly the same thing. I have the required output on my second screen, so let's see. Check, 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 check. I have quantity, list price, sales price, and total price. Now, the trickiest part we don't have yet, and that is the total list price. And for calculating that, we'll go a step back to our last transform, and we will be generating another custom formula. The name of our formula will be total list price, and we're going to do a multi-row formula because we want to add up all the list prices for each order line item. So we're gonna turn on multiple row formula. Then we're gonna type a simple sum, look for the list price, there we go, and then partition by. This is over which partition you want to run your aggregation. So it was the line item ID. The order by doesn't matter too much, so I'm just gonna select anything. Sort descending, sure, why not. The output type, again, it will be a number, and then I'm gonna give the output field name, same name as my transformation, that is total list price. Again, for the API name, no spaces. Hit apply, and then now we have that field. We can add it to our aggregate node. Oh, sorry, I didn't hit sum properly. List to list price, there we go. Click done, click apply, and let's preview. Last but not least, we're going to rename total list price to sum of total list price to total list price. Best practice is to keep your API names in sync with your labels, but that happens to me that I don't do it. And voila, here we are. Now we still lack the absolute discount. Sorry for that. There he goes. You get the hang of it by now. We add it to the aggregate node, hit apply, go to our transform node to finally also rename the last field by hitting this little icon here. There we are. The only thing that's left for us is to add an output node to it and write it to somewhere. There you go, guys. This was my take on challenge number 1. If there was something I misunderstood or I made any mistakes, please let me know in the comments, and otherwise see you next week for another challenge.